So as you guys know, I've been pretty pessimistic with Tesla in their timelines, and it's mostly just because of their full self-driving estimates being delayed and pushed back over and over and over again, and, I understand why they hit local maximums and they think they're close when they're not, but my overall consensus is just like, how do you know that you're not going to hit another local maximum? And that's why I'm all in favor of, Tesla trying to make cars as safe as possible, trying to push self-driving, trying to get robotaxis on the road. I'm not saying it's not worth pursuing, I just wish they would change their narrative about the timeline a little bit. I get pretty annoyed every time I have to hear, end of this year, next year, we're gonna have this figured out. It's like, you don't know. So, for years and years and years, you've been saying next year, and then it doesn't happen. So how about you just work as hard as you can on it, and when it happens, we can cross that bridge when we get there. And I'm very excited for AI Day. I'll probably do a live reaction to it here on this channel. I'm a shareholder, I'm a Tesla fan, of course I'm gonna watch it, but there's definitely a bit of a trend here that I'm starting to catch on to, and I'm worried that Tesla has this growing number of big picture distractions. I'm trying to figure out the exact terminology of describing this problem, but essentially the way I would describe it is this. Tesla will tackle a fairly difficult problem like self-driving or navigate on autopilot or smart summon or auto park, any one of those things, and then realize on the development process that, okay, yeah, this is pretty difficult, this is pretty hard, we could keep working on this, but there is a bigger problem that we need to address. There's a bigger issue that we need to tackle, and that one was probably going to be harder anyway, so why don't we pause on this current development of a project to focus on this bigger issue that is probably going to be far more complicated, but also far more profitable for the business if we can solve it. So this all kind of started with enhanced autopilot, right? This has a suite of features, whether it be automatic lane changing, whether it be auto park or smart summon, and lots of people can tell you from personal experience that these features are still in beta. They're not exactly done. Even with autopilot, we still have phantom braking issues, and with smart summon, the car still doesn't really know how to go backwards very well, and it's so slow, a lot of the time it's not really sure what to do around too many cars, so it's still in beta. It's not done, of course, but development on a lot of these features, whether it be navigate on autopilot or auto park, which people have tested Tesla's auto park, compared it to third-party vehicles, and it's honestly quite a bit slower and a bit less reliable than what other vehicles have been able to come up with, and it's just kind of been shelved by the software team because they have bigger problems. They need to focus on FSD beta right now. But that doesn't mean all of these other features that they started working on and put in beta are complete either. So they just figured, well, the whole self-driving thing and how we handle turns and roundabouts and traffic lights, that's a bigger issue. Let's spend more time focusing on that. So all of those other software features that were a part of enhanced autopilot get shelved, and there's not really that much progress, and there's not really that many updates coming to the rest of those features because Tesla realized, well, FSD beta, if we can get that working, we can crack the robotaxi code. That's far more profitable than selling a software package that's only worth $5,000 or $6,000. Robotaxis are gonna individually make tens of thousands of dollars a year, so that's where we want to spend our money and attention. So okay, I can kind of understand them wanting to tackle the bigger issue, but based on the invites we've seen for AI Day 2, and based on the way Elon's been talking, it sounds like the big emphasis of AI Day is going to be on, of course, artificial intelligence, but mostly how that's going to relate to Tesla Bot, to a humanoid robot that can basically replace a lot of our labor force if the machine learning is as good as Tesla says it's going to be. At first, it's not going to be super capable, and it's going to take a long time for them to get the software right, but ultimately, they want Tesla Bot to replace dangerous and repetitive jobs for humans and actually start taking away more and more manual labor related jobs. And of course, they're right that if you can get that part of the software working, that is a huge business model. Like labor, if you could actually just make machines that replace manual labor positions, that is a huge addressable market, and the bots would require far smaller batteries than cars do. You could rent those out. I don't think it would make any sense to sell bots up front. I think you would rent them out and just pay them half of what minimum wage is, and you could run them all day. You wouldn't have to worry about healthcare or working them too many hours because they're machines and they could have swappable batteries or quick charging batteries. So of course the sky's the limit with Tesla Bot. There's so much potential revenue for that model that now I feel like with AI Day, we're going to see Tesla pushing more time and engineering towards the Tesla Bot program, because that's a big field that could, of course, also potentially save lives, but also for the company, that's going to be extremely profitable if they can get it working. But I'm worried, I guess, a little bit that Tesla has this tendency to kind of shift focus and keep realizing what's the bigger problem, what can AI accomplish, and focus too much on these huge, giant problems that the little problems that they started to try to fix along the way get neglected and pushed off. So if Tesla starts getting so obsessed with getting Bot right, and they're going to unveil this prototype, and they're going to show what it's capable of doing, and try to put it through these tasks that maybe could help it replace workers in factories, or could have it run security jobs, or things that typically are pretty boring and repetitive but cost a lot of money, that's where Tesla Bot can start filling in, and it's going to be problematic. There's probably going to be a beta process, and there's going to be issues, and there's going to be problems that they're going to have to try to iron out, and all of those problems, all of those complexities are going to take up a lot of manpower, take up a lot of energy from Tesla, that FSD Beta and robotaxis start to not feel like that big a deal, because Tesla sees themselves ultimately as a robotics and AI company. So as long as we're focusing on replacing jobs with bots, then doesn't really matter if robotaxis come true or not, right? Because we've found a more profitable business model. So in the same way that Navigate on Autopilot, Smart Summon, and Autopark have kind of been pushed off and neglected for the sake of FSD Beta, I'm really kind of concerned and hoping that Tesla Bot doesn't start to take so much priority and so much focus, because Tesla sees this as this big potential market, to the point that, well, whether or not we get robotaxis working, or whether or not we get FSD Beta safer than a human, that doesn't ultimately have as big an impact as the bot does. So that's going to become our approach, and maybe during that process they try to get Bot up and running, they try to get it reliable, and then they find some other AI problem that they think they can solve that we can't even imagine at this point, whether it's product, vehicle design, or having an artificial intelligence run a company and tell it what to invest in, or what jobs to cut, or things like that. I don't know, some crazy idea Elon may come up with, and I just really hope that Tesla doesn't get too distracted to the point that they miss a lot of their previous goals, because I do want these basic features to work as well. You know, as much as I want to try FSD Beta, and I'll do a whole nother video on why I don't have that yet, but I still also think it would be great if those entry-level features that were in Enhanced Autopilot could get some attention, could get some love, so that even people that aren't trying to rent out their vehicle to the robotaxi network can experience some benefits and advantages there. And it's probably very easy for you to say right now, if you're on the FSD Beta train, that, oh, of course they're gonna figure out all that stuff later, it's just not too important right now, we gotta solve FSD Beta, and then we can take care of phantom braking and Autopark and Smart Summon. We'll get all that down the road. But you could easily imagine a situation in which Tesla decides that the bot is more important of a program, because that's a larger, more addressable market that's infinitely more profitable than, say, even robotaxis. So then Tesla could easily start saying, well, you know, once we figure out bot and we essentially solve artificial general intelligence, that'll take care of FSD Beta down the road. So we can take our time on that. Who needs to get robotaxis ready? Bots require less batteries, and we can ramp that up a lot quicker, and it'd be a much more profitable business. And then you'd be left in that situation of, well, I still want my car to drive itself though, but Tesla decided there's bigger fish to fry. So I'm ultimately coining this term as big picture dilemma, where Tesla continues to get more and more widespread with the problems they think AI can solve, when in reality there's still a lot of situations where humans are not that bad. I mean, even Elon thought they could scale a bunch of the Fremont factory for Model 3 production that was going to be almost completely autonomous, and it was going to have very few people involved, and it would be this alien dreadnought of a factory line. And then once they tried to do that, it wasn't working. It was not ramping very well, and Elon came forward and said, you know, humans are actually pretty good at a lot of manufacturing, so they ended up using more humans, and that's how Tesla's vehicles ramp today, is with a lot of non-man-run processes. And I think we could find more situations in the future where we think AI and we think computers will do a really good job at a certain task, when in reality, those edge cases are where humans shine pretty brightly. And just for the record, I'm still very much excited for AI Day. I'm still really pumped to watch it and excited to see what they unveil. Really hoping for some hardware showcases as well, but ultimately I know that AI Day is primarily going to be for recruitment. It's not like a typical Apple event where you're just trying to get consumers excited about a product. So taper expectations. This is probably going to get into the nitty-gritty weeds of engineering and software, but I just hope that Tesla doesn't forget their smaller obstacles obstacles that they were hoping to solve along the way. But ultimately, I still don't think, even if they do get sidetracked with bot and that takes priority over FSD beta, like, the company's not going to be in trouble or anything. They're still insanely profitable. They're still a great investment in my view as well. That's not investment advice. Do your own research, but the company will be fine. I just think that Elon may have a tendency of leaving a bunch of unfinished projects behind in between his miraculous achievements, which he's still done a lot more than any of us will probably ever accomplish in several lifetimes. But sometimes it's good to kind of follow through and wrap up and finish a project that you start as well, rather than say, well, we couldn't figure that one out, so we're going to tackle a bigger project because that's more important. How do you guys feel about AI Day 2? Are you excited? Are you skeptical? Are you optimistic? All that good stuff. Let me know your thinking down below, and thank you to everyone on Patreon for supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. Have an excellent rest of your day.